everybody, it's Chris from the Evermore podcast. Just coming back after that lovely game against Cambridge United in the FA Cup. Surprise, surprise, Newcastle United are out of the cup yet again. Absolutely shite, to be brutally honest with you. I don't know what we were expecting, but we certainly weren't expecting that. Credit to Cambridge. Well done. Fantastic giant killing for them. Fans have come a long way. Obviously had a great day in Newcastle, I'm sure, and be having an even better night as well after that result. But, you know, looking at the game in isolation, obviously looking at the lineup as well, we were all very excited. There was one name in particular we were looking for. This is the starting lineup. You can see there it was Kieran Trippier making his debut for Newcastle. A really strong team named by Eddie Howe. You know, pretty much a team you would expect to play in the Premier League. Fraser and St Maximin were back from injury, which was great to see. Paul Dummett on the bench, which was very good to see. Young Elliot Anderson as well. No Matty Longstaff, which was a bit of a shame. Hoping I was going to see him, but obviously he was injured. So, yeah, you'd expect that team to easily polish off Cambridge United, but sadly it wasn't the case at all. And I think one of the things that was totally evident throughout the entire game was without Callum Wilson, we are absolutely fucked. There's no centre forward whatsoever. Dwight Gale wasn't in the squad. Neither was Jamal Lascelles. There was no word about it was COVID or injury or whatever. Dwight Gale seems to be the missing man. Nobody knows what's going on with him. I think there's a good chance they'll get sold to the Championship club this winter. But judging by the complete lack of strikers that we have in the squad at the minute, that would be complete suicide. I don't understand why there wasn't any recognised centre forward even on the bench at all. You know, obviously I don't want to be too critical of Howe because, you know, he has inherited a shit show, but there's got to be some questions asked after this game. You know, looking at that squad as well, he's left Joe Willock out, he's left Almiron out. Joe Willock could have played through the middle as well, I thought, you know, which I think was a real poor decision. So looking at the game, obviously we created a bit in the first half. We looked lively. You know, so Maximum was buzzing around as always. Overplaying a little bit at times as the game went on, completely overplaying, spinning around, doing pirouettes like a fucking show pony. A bit like your mate on FIFA who only knows the skill buttons but can't actually shoot. So it was incredibly frustrating for everybody, fans in the stadium, fans watching on the TV. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. You know, either just square it or have a shot or something. You know, Alan, stop pissing around. You know, we're losing the game against a team that's 17th in League One. I just don't get what this guy does and why nobody pulls him and has a word with him. Obviously, from a captain perspective, there was no Lascelles, so it was Richie as the captain. You know, Richie's legs are so far gone that he couldn't even keep up with League One players. He was looking not to give a penalty away, to be brutally honest with you. When the Cambridge player went down, probably would have been a bit of a soft one, but I think Richie was very, very lucky as he was completely on the wrong side. No legs to catch the lad. It could have easily been a pen. You know, Longstaff as well. I think that was a bit of a questionable one. I think that should have been a pen, in my opinion, as well. So Cambridge did get away with that one, but taking nothing away from them, they totally deserved the win. The goal itself, again, we've seen that goal how many times? It's a comical of errors. Shit defending. It comes from Fabian Schär taking a ridiculous shot from 180 yards or wherever the hell he was standing, skies it over the bar, nearly puts Rosie's bar's windows out. They break, obviously come through. Dubravka's fouled in the lead up. He goes down. Defence can't get rid of it. You know, and the lad from Cambridge bangs it away. I think he's from the northeast as well, which doesn't surprise you. You can't write the script anymore. Looking into the stand, Stavely and her husband are there with the one of the main guys from PIF. And I really hope she's asked him for a few more £100 million because that team is absolutely dreadful. It really, really is. You know, that was a squad of players that probably would play a Premier League fixture for us, which is the most worrying part of that game. And they just didn't have anything at all. I mean, Joe Linton, we're quick to praise him. You know, Manchester United, he looks like he's gone from Patrick Vieira to Ford Sierra because he was anonymous in this game. And I'm looking at these players and I'm just thinking, I feel sorry for Eddie Howe. You know, it's like trying to get a tune out of a guitar with one string. You're just going to constantly play one note, and that's just a bum note. And that's what these lads are playing. I mean, Kieran Trippier makes his debut. You know, obviously we're all excited about that. He has that free kick. It's probably the main highlight of the game. Fortunately, hits the wall. He didn't do too bad. You know, he just a few misplaced passes here and there. He's obviously trying to get used to his teammates back in England, playing a different type of game than he's been playing in Spain. But I mean, that lad must be wondering if there's a cooling off period, a 14-day cooling off period where he can find the receipt and go back to Atletico Madrid, because he must be thinking he's made a massive mistake. You know, and it's games like this that really just that don't do us any favors. You know, the whole footballing community in England certainly want us to fail. You've seen it with the salt from the other fans, Southampton, Everton fans. Twitter will be ablaze with people taking the piss out of Newcastle United for losing against Cambridge. You know, you're trying to attract players to the club. Losing games like this doesn't help. You know, you're going to have to stick an extra few grand on that pay pack if you want to come and join us. You know, we're 19th in the table. We've just been dumped out of the cup. It doesn't make good reading, no matter how much money you've got in the background. But I suppose looking at it, you know, from a different angle, you know, it's nice to have a cup run, but this season's all about staying in the league. So getting dumped out of the cup isn't really the be-all and end-all, in all fairness. If we'd played a good game, you know, putting a much better performance and maybe got beat by a last-minute header or, you know, dodgy goal or whatever, you'd probably say fair enough. But the worrying part of that is the performance. The performance was absolutely horrendous in every single possible level. I'm struggling to think of any player that can really hold their head up to say they did well. Probably Ryan Fraser was about the only one I felt who did something. You know, he ran and he ran and he ran. But you look in the box. There was one point I looked in the box and there was nobody. I think it was more than one point. There was nobody between the width of the post. Not one single player. Not one of those players had the kind of dedication or the you know the be all about them to get into the box to try and make that central striker position. You can't place a Maximin as a striker. That does not work. He cannot stand still. He's got ants in his pants. He's all over the place. He cannot play as a centre forward. So you need to go and buy a centre forward now in January because Callum Wilson is injured. We don't know how long for. It's probably going to be for a long time. But we literally cannot play one more game without a centre forward. I'm shocked and stunned that there wasn't a young lad from the academy that could have come off the bench and played as a centre forward just to work within the width of the posts. Nobody was doing it at all. Joe Willock came on. He was disappointing yet again. You know, I'm watching him. I think he hit him on the edge of the box. And last season for Joe Willock, it's touch and bang. You know, he hits it straight at the goal. He touched it again. It dribbled out of his possession. He's all over the place. That lad looks an absolute shell of the player that he was. And it cannot just be the change of manager. Something's gone on there with Joe Willock, whether he's injured or maybe last season was just a blip. I don't know what it is, but it was just a horrendous cameo really from Willock. You know, and as I said, St. Maximin's just doing pirouettes on the edge of the box. You know, like he's I don't know what the fuck he's doing, to be brutally honest with you. He's just trying to fill his highlight reel, you know, for social media or something. It's really frustrating, you know. And like I say, losing the cup game isn't the be-all and end-all. But in the bigger scheme of things, it's just not going to help the club progress. It's not going to help the club, you know, sell itself to people. Getting Trippier was a massive coup. There's no doubt about that. But Trippier's probably looking at that now thinking, Christ, you know, I didn't know my teammates were as bad as that. So let's just hope that, you know, by the time we play Watford, if the game is still on, which I'm sure it should be, that we put in a much better performance than that. There's obviously talk about Sven Botman, and I believe there's a centre half from Sevilla. I think it is, Brazilian lad. Is it Diego something or other? Can't remember his name, but he looks a great player. I saw him in the highlight reel putting Messi on his arse. So anyone who can do that's a good player for me. But you need those players in. Fabian Schär looks shot. He looks dreadful. Kraft is just, you know, not good enough at all. Murphy runs around a lot, doesn't do much. Richie's legs have gone. You know, so I mean, that whole back four needs to be replaced. You need some midfield quality as well. If you can get an Aaron Ramsey, go get him. You know, he would massively improve that side. But centre forward is a massive priority. You need to get, you know, an Origi or a Martial or someone who's proven in the Premier League that can put the ball in the back of the net, because that's what we need. Callum Wilson is who knows how long away. And even when he comes back, you know, he is made of glass. Great guy, great player, fantastic for us, but made of glass. You know, there's an injury waiting around the corner for him. You can't rely on him. So we need to get a striker that can play a string of games and obviously put the ball in the back of the net. So that's pretty much what I've got to say about today. Disappointing. Isn't the end of the world, but I think the nature of the performance, you know, again, it's just so disappointing. And it just highlights how poor Newcastle United really are and the job that Eddie Howe has on his hands. If you like this kind of thing, guys, please click like and subscribe, as you can see in the link below. And follow us on Twitter at SRP Blog. Obviously, any of the Evermore podcasts will be on there with a link to YouTube. If you haven't checked out last week's episode, please do so. Just fast forward 7 minutes in, because we had some serious sound issues, which hopefully we haven't had today. But for me, that's me signing off now, guys, and I'll catch you next Wednesday with the rest of the lads. And let's just hope we've got something better to talk about in the next Newcastle United game. Have a good night, guys, if you can.